my shoes. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Oh, now y'all done. Y'all done with trick or treating. Gotta adjust the seat and shit. Oh, no, I forgot about that. My bad. I'll explain that off air, Pew. I explained that off air. What went down. It was, long story short, it was a misunderstanding on literally all of one person, and you can guess who. Pretty sure you can guess about whose misunderstanding that was. Yeah. So, yeah, Mrs. Dragnot is out with the little one. Okay, I'm just gonna set it right there. Mrs. Dragnot is out with the little one, and they just got done. They just sent me a text. I'm being a fat guy right now. I'm getting my favorite fries because I felt like that because I've been fucking sick as a dog for the last 2 days. That's one of the reasons I haven't had actually any hangouts or anything, or you really haven't heard from me, because I was writhing in fucking pain. Because I think my instructor got me sick. Well, that's what I get for sitting in the front of the fucking class while he's hacking and coughing after he's had to leave. So yeah, that was fun. No, I didn't go to the doctor. No, I didn't take any medicine. I toughed that shit out. Good old Army style. So, yeah. No, not Popeyes. No, I'm going to Wingstop because I love their fries. Yep, sue me. So, shit, how do I get to Wingstop? Fuck. I go left or right? Shit. No, NASA Park. Nope, right, okay. Go right. That's what it is, yeah. Anyway, so, I've been wondering something for a while, and if you've seen the fucking title, pretty sure you can guess what it's about. BHY, not BHI. If you notice, you really don't hear me talk a lot about the Black Hebrew Israelites. You don't even hear me acknowledge them as actual fucking people because, well, if you're a grown ass man and you're out there dressing up like a fucking Power Ranger and it's not Halloween, or you're not going to a cosplay contest, I don't really want to have shit to do with you. Like, I'm not going to take you seriously at all. So I can't say that's 100% because I have taken time out and I have spoken to a Black Hebrew Israelite type person. There's a particular doctrine that he subscribed to that I cannot remember right now because there are different factions of them, believe it or not. But he was pretty damn cordial. It's amazing, what you can get out of them when you're not yelling at them. Even if they are yelling at you, there's different ways you can go about talking to people and getting them to calm down. Because if their goal is to put across information to you, then they're going to do what they need to put across that information. So if you go, hey, how about we not yell? Can you have your little midget Negro here, your little midget here reading, your scripture? Can one of y'all or can the midget inform me on kind of what it is in a nutshell that y'all are out here doing? Like, what's the goal? What is the overall objective that you're trying to accomplish out here? Because there has to be an end game. There has to be some type of maybe short-term and long-term goals that you all are setting, because this is like these guys got schedules. If y'all didn't actually know this, these motherfuckers have schedules. When they come out here, they are Sarah Karef, the seventh ancient of the ancient order, But when they go back to work, they fucking Kev on the fry cook at McDonald's. Like that is they doing this shit on their off days, and so they it's an odd kind of dance that they do with their personal life and their kind of Hebrew Israelite time, where they keep this weird duality where they're somewhat royalty, I guess, in their minds, and I say royalty, and in this case, the Israelite royalty, and they're somehow, I guess, being oppressed by those who are not rightfully Israelites or something. I'm butchering their beliefs for a reason, because one thing, I didn't sit down and fucking read through all of them, and another is I think it's fucking funny, so I'm not going to actually sit down and look into it unless I'm actually having a conversation with one. Then I will take the time to say, all right, what is it that you believe? Tell me why you believe it. Why did you dip the Bible in chocolate? Oh man, everyone's black now. Okay, cool. That is awesome, because I like that idea. Yeah. No, everyone in the Bible doesn't get to be black. That's a privilege. You gotta earn that shit. That would be my first question, and that's kind of one to think. Oh, I was not supposed to fucking turn there. Yep, got to now. So one of my first questions to the guy when I went out there, and this is in Houston. I think there's a different type of Hebrew Israel. There's a different chapter here in Houston. Well, for one, because the reason I know this, because G-Man, among all people, have not gotten his ass snatched up by anybody yet, which is fucking amazing. I am genuinely fucking shocked that no one has went across his fucking face, because you don't yell at people like that when you from the South. I'm sorry, you don't do that. Like I was shocked, because one of the things he wanted to see is me come up to these dudes and talk to them. It's like, well, me being from Louisiana, right? Let me tell you a little bit of culture. If you run up on a group of guys, I don't care if it's talking about sports. I don't care if it's talking about whose mama makes the best cornbread. If you run up yelling and shit, and as aggressive as shit as G-Man does, you will get snatched up. They will put your ass up against a wall. I don't know what it is about these particular. I guess they just really don't want to go to jail, but that's just it's just amazing to me. It's simply amazing. And I'm one fucking parking lot over. God damn it! I'm over here talking. I'm in the wrong parking lot. Like, it's amazing that no one has snatched his ass up. Like, I am still in shock that no one has done that, because he's pretty fucking aggressive. If you've never actually sat and listened to G-Man talk to these folks, it's very similar to how he talks to, everyone else, and it's fine. And don't get me wrong. Like, don't mistake, me for taking up for these folks, because a lot of them, they say some pretty crappy stuff to G-Man, talking about he's a virgin and he needs to go get laid. But some of it I agree with, but like they go a little bit too far for me. It's not needed. And granted, I know G-Man is coaxing them, to do a lot of that, but some of them are pretty terrible individuals on their own, even without the coaxing. You can come on, sir. You can come on. It's a big ass truck. No, I think that's a woman. Ooh, damn. Okay. So, I understand it's not just all one way. But if you're saying shit in the chat, I'm driving, I'm not looking. So I'm gonna look in a second while my food gets done. But yeah, so I'm like, okay, so let me try and be as fair as possible. I know G-Man's not gonna go in and talk to these folks like he got some fucking sense. I don't know what it is, I don't know what's in the water, but evidently you can just go up to a random group of brothers and just start talking shit to them, and you feel secure as shit. Like you got a cousin on the police force just looking out for you. I do. I don't know about y'all. But even then, I don't go up and start talking shit to people, even though I could make a phone call and have a police officer, a blood relative, fuck with me. All right? So, like I know that. I know where I am. Why is this fucking camera? Why is this like this? Okay. I know that. Okay? So, I don't get it. Like, it must be a huge, cultural difference. Because you just can't do that here. You cannot do that shit. You will... This mic... Okay, I'm holding the mic. My bad. Okay. You cannot run up on folks here and start yelling and shit and start threatening folks. Like it does not happen without repercussions. It just does not. I'm sorry. If anybody knows what happened between Percy Miller, aka Master P, and Pimp C, where this dude was talking shit about Pimp C. Okay. Well, fuck. Okay, I was just about to tell. Go look up if you're not familiar with this bit of hip hop history. This actually happened between Master P and Pimp C. Okay, Master P is from Louisiana. He's from where I'm from, and Pimp C is from here where I'm at now, Houston, Texas. One of the gentlemen was running his mouth publicly about the other, and something really bad happened to him, and a point got put across to him that he is not untouchable. His mama's not untouchable. So it's it's that kind of places an emphasis on this idea that your actions have consequences. So let me get back to something real quick when my food gets done. All right. When you go up and you start, if you actually want to engage the Black Hebrew Israelite folks, mind you, a lot of them don't like white people. So I'm just going to break it to you right now. A lot of them don't. But if you are cordial to them, even if some of them are belligerent, there's usually maybe an older guy that you could talk to, and they'll kind of explain, why some of the younger ones are hostile, I guess more hostile, and why some of their doctrines are as, I guess, ethnocentric as it may seem. And so you can actually get quite a bit of information out of them, and and actually learn quite a bit, because their beliefs are interesting. Like you pretty much take the Bible and you dip it in chocolate. Like that depiction exists for a reason. So then you have to wonder, okay, so these folks have these funky Christian or pseudo-Christian beliefs, and like how does G-Man play a role in this? That's a good fucking question, because I'm like at a fucking loss. Like what do you, like if you're G-Man, you say, well, these guys are teaching heresies and I need to go out here and correct their heresies. Well, my thing it would be, all right, go ahead, big man, you got dinner for the whole family. If you were trying to convince people, if you are trying to show people that what they believe is wrong and what you believe is right, there's a few basic things you need to do before you engage in that conversation. Let's say if I'm talking to somebody, like as a vet, if I'm talking to somebody that's anti-military, do I go up and start, oh, you fucking civvy, what the fuck do you know? You never had a hard day of work in your fucking life. Like, do I go up and I start yelling at them? Do I start, calling them out their name? Am I start getting, will I start getting really aggressive with them? There's so many missteps that you can take in this endeavor. But I understand that people have their beliefs, no matter how volatile they may be, they have them for a reason, most of the time. So what I could try and do is say, all right, well, let me be as cordial as possible, and no matter how belligerent my interlocutor gets, I'm going to stay fucking calm. Now, I say this because a lot of you have seen me do this, and I've been very successful. That patience that I show is a honed skill that took me years to develop. If you replace me with G-Man on there, I'm going to take some notes. I'm not going to go and try and convert somebody or deconvert them or try and get them to stop doing what they're doing, because I know that people don't change their beliefs overnight. Like, at the very basis of what we're trying to do here is understand another person, understand their beliefs, show them why the way that they've reasoned to whatever this belief is wrong, and get them to, jump on board with what I believe, right? That's a multi-step process. I named like 4 or 5 steps. Hold on. I named like 4 or 5 steps at least, so that it doesn't happen all at once. Okay. All right. Got an internet order for Alfred.
On Street 69, early laptops, collaborate real time.
right, thank you. Okay. So, we go outside for a little bit. All right. So, I'm trying to get. I thought my stuff would have been done by now, but I live too close. So it looks like G-Man didn't went live. Hold on. I'm trying to see the notification. No, oh no, it wasn't G-Man. That was somebody. It was Tony. Okay. I don't know why I said G-Man. So, oh, by the way, there's supposed to be a math hangout soon. It's going to be off air. I got to get with EO and a few others who want to do the math hangout. And if you need help, like writing something, paper, whatever, I'm pretty good at that. I help write my mother-in-law's, papers for her MBA. So, probably like the biggest challenge is trying to integrate, your diction with somebody else's. And my mother-in-law really, she uses a bit different, I guess, diction than I do. So I guess that's the best way to describe it. I don't know, but if you've ever like tried to pick up someone else's writing, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, changes the flow. So what was I saying? So okay, any math, it doesn't matter. So what was I saying? Okay, so it's a multi-step process. It's a multi-step process that you have to take in order to try and change somebody's mind. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be about football. It can be about politics. It can be about religion. It takes time, and it doesn't happen overnight. So one of the most ineffectual ways that you can try and change somebody's mind is fucking yelling at them. That doesn't work. I tell you this from personal experience about spending countless hours in the field yelling at other soldiers, having other soldiers yell at me the same fucking thing literally for hours. It does not change anyone's mind. I'm telling you from personal experience, it does not change anyone's mind. Let me say it again for the people in the back. Yelling at people does not change anyone's mind, okay? It only galvanizes their beliefs. Yelling at people does not change their mind. You know who I'm talking to. I'm being very direct. Yelling at people does not change their mind. That's why you don't see me yell. I can yell very, very loud, actually. So take note from somebody who's lived it, okay? So the first step, that trying to change their mind, trying to show off, and that's what I think. Because if you're genuinely interested in trying to change someone's mind, the first thing you do is you sit down and you formulate why your beliefs are, I guess, superior. I hate using the word superior here because I think it's a bit misleading. Why do you think your beliefs are more preferred than theirs? I'll say that. Okay, it's less. It's a bit less charged. No, I'm not going to yell in the public area in strip mall. There are very, very petite, very young Indian women here looking, and having a big black man yell is not the best thing in the world for their heart rate. So, anyway, it's if you want to work on changing someone's mind, you sit and you understand what your position is first. That is the first step. Okay, why do I believe what I believe? All right, and this next step is very, very important, by the way, very important. After that, you then go, okay, well, if this particular notion, this particular belief that I have is such, what are the strengths and weaknesses of this belief? And so look up, and like I said, this part is very, very important. Look up the refutations for your point. If you have not actually sought out the refutations to your point, then you're not doing it right. I'm sorry. This is before you've engaged anybody else. If I think Cajun food, Cajun Creole cuisine, is the only cuisine out there that uses this medley of spices and herbs. Yep. I appreciate it, bro. Thanks. So if there you go. Okay. So if I say Cajun Cajun Creole cuisine is the best food out there because it uses spices that are just kind of a medley of flavors in your mouth, and I say that and I point to specifically seasonings like Tony Chachere's or Slap Your Mama or Lowry's or something. Well, okay, that's an interesting premise that I have there, and I say, well, this is evidenced by the seasonings that I just named. Okay, so what would be? Let me see if I can poke holes in my own idea here. Well, if there are other cuisines out there, I need to kind of look up those cuisines and see if they also have some type of spice, some type of medley. I think that's what it's called. Someone feel free to correct me. But some combination of spices that are specific to that region that really give it that specific. And I'm trying to be specific, and by emphasizing specific, it has that distinct flavor that can only be found in that region. Like when you taste Cajun and Creole food, you can't mistake it for, Greek Lebanese food, for instance. Like that, just give you an example. Okay, so that would require me to do research outside of my original area, which would be Cajun Creole cuisine. All right, if I've not done that, then you can't set up this tier of. I don't think that people take the time to consider the fact that their ideas, whatever notions may be running through their head, may possibly be wrong. Simply because there's a website that states that my beliefs are true is not evidence that your beliefs are true. Shit on a website doesn't mean shit, honestly. Well, you bring up websites all the time. What about that PubMed place? What about that? And I'd say that includes PubMed. Just because something's on PubMed isn't why it's true. The information on PubMed is a collection of data that's been recorded by universities, by institutions, by firms, by a multitude of professionals. It's not the fact that it's on there. It's the fact of the source of where it actually comes from, not the fact that it's kept in this repository online. So I think we should acknowledge that here and now and draw that distinction. Sorry, my throat's kind of getting a little scratchy again. I'm still not fully recovered. But yeah. So after we've taken that next step and consider, okay, well, what are the strengths and weaknesses of my argument? Let me look into it. Let me see if I can try and poke holes into it. Some people may say, this is kind of an external critique of some type, maybe something like that. Internal and external critique is a really important part of you going into this battle and doing your planning. Like this is still, you're still in the planning phase. This is before you've talked to anybody, and even thought about speaking to anybody, even outside your own head, like even your neighbor. Take this time to do that shit. All right, next, understand your opposition. Understand people who hold a different view. So, if my opponent is a black Hebrew Israelite, well, I might want to understand his points. And when I say understand his point, that doesn't mean kind of gloss over their beliefs and then just go up and find one of them and say, oh, you believe this, and this. And tell them what their beliefs are. No. Bad. No. Don't tell people what their fucking beliefs are. I can't stand that shit. If you gotta tell somebody what their beliefs are, then you don't need to talk to them. Because you've already shown that you can't take the time to either sit down and fucking listen, or you're just not doing your homework. Because with anything, there are certain nuances that exist in almost every topic. There's certain little subtleties that exist. And just because someone ascribes to this particular sets of ideals, it doesn't mean that they accept every single one of them. There's people who love the Catholic Church but don't agree with every tenet 100%. So there's distinctions to be made. That's why it's necessary to sit down and really qualify people's statements and not tell them their beliefs. Let me place another emphasis on not telling people their fucking beliefs, because I see that shit a little bit too often, and I think people got that shit from Brett Keane, which is a terrible person to get shit from. If you ever want to see how to fail at life, take tips from Brett Keane. Use his tactics. Fuck. Why anybody want to do some stupid shit like that? If you ever want to have a shitty marriage, you want to be a shitty person, listen to Brett Keane. That's just dumb. So, back home. Got my fries. So, alright. Let me put my wallet. Give me something to drink. My throat. So, alright, so where are we at? Understand your opponent's position. Now, I can't place enough emphasis on this. Don't go to Wikipedia. And before I forget. Let me put this down right there. Shit, I was just gonna use that. God damn it. Wait in the fucking sink. Son of a bitch. All right. So, don't go to YouTube videos, okay? If your main source of information for somebody's ideas are YouTube videos, you might want to kind of look at something else. You might kind of just maybe go, okay, the fuck was that? The kids? Put a sign out there for a reason. People can go to YouTube videos. Like if you wanted just to get a brief overview, like I went to a YouTube video the other day, right? And when I did that, I was looking up. I was reading that book, Golul Escher Bach, The Eternal Golden Braid, and I didn't know what a fugue was. I'm completely musically illiterate. I have no idea what this shit is. I don't have a reference. The analogies won't work because I have no idea. So I went and listened to about a 15-minute video describing and then detailing and demonstrating what a fugue is. And so that's good for like I guess a cursory understanding of what a fugue is. So I noticed that they use certain words and certain references within the explanation that I also did not understand. At that point, I have an option. I can take my ass to a fucking library. I can go into some. I can enroll myself in a music class. I can consult someone who's really good at music, maybe like Christopher Mowdy, who actually teaches music class or music classes. Like there's different things that I can do. But watching more YouTube videos probably wouldn't be the solution there. So just having a strict diet, a strict intellectual diet of YouTube makes you fucking lazy. I'm just putting it out there. If I could coast through all my classes with YouTube videos, I wouldn't need to go to class. No one would. It would make the value of an education be fucking nothing. It would be worth a YouTube ad or two. That would be it. So just keep that in mind. There are details to things that YouTube videos don't quite quantify. There are very few detailed YouTube videos that will really capture all the little subtleties, all the nuances, and all the details that you need to understand in a topic, any given topic. Even simple ones. Okay. So, that being said, YouTube is a GMO of education. Go do some fucking reading. If you don't know a topic, read. If you're not fond of reading, if you got a short attention span, find somebody who knows a little bit. If they teach a course, 9 times out of 10, they probably know what the fuck they're talking about. And that's not a huge. I mean, if you're that kind of person who has to sit and listen to a lecture and take notes, if it's a recording of a lecture, I'm not counting that in the YouTube video spec. I'm talking about like the Crash Course Science-esque type of YouTube videos. If it's a recording of an actual lecture, on YouTube, I'm not talking about that. Okay, that's something different. Be the same if you were sitting in the lecture, it'd be the exact same. Okay, there's a difference. Understand that distinction I'm making. So, and it's best to find a point of contact to ensure that you know what you're talking about. If I don't know something about, let's say, genetics, it can be, where on a gene is a promoter? Well, who do I know that might understand that? CRISPR, Sam the scientist. Okay. If there's some particular interaction between microbes, specifically E. coli, that I'm not too familiar with, Fiona Robertson. If I'm having a trouble understanding a proof for something in Calc 1, I can go to EO. Like, there are different areas that I can go to people and ask them different questions about. And I know that I can go to them and get accurate information. And if they don't know, they're going to be honest with me and tell me that, they're not too sure, or they're going to refer me to another source. Like, there's different things. So having a point of contact that you're familiar with is also integral into this understanding. And again, this is before you've engaged anyone. This is the homework that you do beforehand. Okay, so it's that's something that needs to be done way ahead of time. So let me say, I call bullshit on every random ass lecture is more into details than a given crash course video on a similar subject. First of all, even the lecturer is the only person biased themselves. Well, we can dispute that. If you feel that way, we can actually have a whole hangout about it. So that's fine. These are just my recommendations. You feel free to disagree with some of them. Not all of them, some of them. So, like I was saying, this is stuff you do beforehand. This is stuff you do way before you engage someone. So if you decide you want to start engaging someone, the first thing you do, very first thing, not get in their face to the point that you're about to kiss them, you introduce yourself. You introduce who you are, what your intentions are. Don't be a douchebag. I think that's kind of one of the reasons why some people kind of have taken to SE, street epistemology, and others have taken to it, others have kind of looked upon it with scorn, because there's this kind of implicit urge to move people away from their beliefs, and with a bit of like this air of superiority. I've seen that portion of it, and I understand that. So, and again, I think that's actually a really good conversation to have too, whether street epistemology is really helpful or not. But be upfront. If you disagree with these beliefs, then seek to understand, deferring back to your previous homework, seek to understand what this person then believed, because you may have to revamp what you had previously learned, because there may be a new faction or a new version or new interpretation, or the person just doesn't even abide by whatever that notion is, one or two notions. So, well, what then? Okay, if you want to disagree with something, I think that you first want to make sure you understand what you're disagreeing with. And I think a lot of people that I see commenting on my video with Emperor Atheist, a lot of people acknowledge something, and people who people have spoken to me privately have noticed that nothing was ever addressed, ever. When a topic was brought up, it was a point of contention for all of 2 seconds, and the next thing was something completely different. It wasn't even a segue, it was just something else completely different. Okay? So, if you have position A, and your interlocutor has position D, then, well, you need to see if you can bridge that gap to see how each other got to their respective positions. Not, oh, well, we disagree, well, let me move on to my next point. Like that, how does that change anyone's mind? Well, I disagree with you. Okay. Well, fuck. Like, that, I'm not sure how that helps anybody. So let me get back to what I was saying. If you don't actually take the time to listen to people and understand what they're saying, you can't see how they got to that position. You're never going to get back to it because you're being lazy. So, like, it should be pretty intuitive. If you don't understand what someone's saying, then you can't progress with a conversation. A real interesting thing to do in a conversation to see if someone understands what you're saying is ask them to just give you a summation of your position, of what you've already said. And if you're that person being asked to do that, you should readily be able to give them a summation of what they just said. Or if not, you clarify it. If you can't give somebody a summation of what they just said, you don't know their position. Point blank, period. There's no two ways about that. There's no wiggle room. I'm sorry. You should be able to at least repeat it. If you really know it, you can teach somebody else. I mean, that's another level of mastery of whatever it is, but you should be able to, ideally. So, I think I'll pick up this conversation because I think we really need to have like an entire hangout on this, because I don't understand the direction any of these Black Hebrew Israelite videos are going. I don't see any of these dudes change in their minds. I see somebody who's trying to puff out his chest and talk these guys down and demean them while they're demeaning him back, but I don't see any progress being made. I'm not sure really what the goal is, other than it being entertainment. Because, I mean, hell, who doesn't like a good minstrel show? But what overall is the technique being employed here in order to get people to move from their supposed heresy to where they need to be? That's what I'm curious about, because if they could be doing something more constructive with their time, I'm all for it. But if it's somebody arguing nonsense to somebody else who's arguing nonsense, and then nonsense is going to nonsense, or nonsense is going to nonsense, like what the fuck is the point? Like what does it matter? So, oh shit. On that note, I may do part 2 tomorrow. There's I think I touched on 3 or 4, I guess, meta topics that we need to talk about. And now those are for future hangouts, but yeah, this is something, you know, myself and quite a few others have kind of just been noticing. But I'm just putting it out there. Feel free to critique my ideas. If I've misspoken, please feel free. And see, that's it. Before I end this hangout, that's another thing. Being open to being corrected in real time. Not 4 months later, not a year later, not 3.5 years later, not being corrected by a certain sex or a certain race, being corrected in real time, being able to, I think is very important. Being able to actually accept that correction and not get all butthurt about shit. Just being able to listen. I mean, that's at the end of the day. So anyway, Steve's doing his Halloween hangout. Folks probably go head over there. I'm going to go sit down because my throat is really starting to get just terrible right now. So, see ya.